And we are live back. This time, I know most of you were expecting Kite Man, but tonight we will be live streaming the series that really helped kick this channel into straight high gear with our first couple thousand watch videos, which, for most channels is a big deal. For us, was gargantuan and can't be stated enough how much we appreciate each and every one of you. But this time we will be covering The Rings of Power, Season 2, Episodes 1 through 3. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, Brent here back with Geek Variants. Cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. This time, the Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, Season 2. And I know there is going to be a lot of mixed emotions going into this season. Because look, Season 1 just was not blemishless. There were definitely hits against it. And honestly, rightfully so. Look, there were times where the lore was straight up disrespected. There were times where I want to say the makeup, the costumes weren't all that great. And there were occasionally times where some of the acting was a little bit peculiar, or at least the writing decision was peculiar in certain regards. Because look, last season, I enjoyed what we saw as an adaptation. There's never going to be a part of me where it's like, oh yeah, this is exactly where you want to drop someone in for their first go round into Middle Earth. This is not the show where you're like, look, Middle Earth, 100% accurate. Here we are. This show's not that. It's never strived to be that. It's never pretended to be that. It hasn't faked that. It is literally the show that has been straight up an adaptation. And the more you love that word and the more you care about the word adaptation, the better this show kind of gets. The more stringent you are upon the lore and how accurate things need to be, the more hangups you've either caused for yourself or unnecessarily caused yourself a little bit of drama. Because this series, in a lot of regards, still came out very, very good. Elrond was definitely a highlight of last season. The dwarves, a highlight of last season. Arondir, a highlight of last season. Some of the actors and actresses who were in this series were absolutely fantastic this last season. And sure, a big sure here, that Galadriel was not what we hoped she would be last season. I don't think there was a single fan out there that was exactly like, this is exactly who we thought Galadriel was going to be. We understood for the most part that there were going to be adaptations and liberties taken. We didn't think that the character herself was going to be completely ignored for the most part. Because to put things bluntly, I personally, and I do not speak for all of chat, I personally had absolutely no love for the character whatsoever. Her entire arc was confusing in only so many words. I understand grief. I understand suffering. I understand going through significant loss in many regards. But at the same token, and now no pun there intended, I don't understand the way in which she went about her business. She was putting herself into no win situations constantly, either through her demeanor, her candor, or just her overall lack of good, solid decision making. The fact that she ended up, you know, in this weird, bizarre ship with Sauron was confusing beyond all belief. Galadriel just was not the highlight. She was not the moment, if you will, for last season. She was one of those characters where you're looking at and going, I understand why people are frustrated. I get it. You're sitting here just like the Shrek shirt. You are making this face constantly. You and your buddy just "Wh- what happened here? Was this a character assassination? What just transpired? What what in all that is good and green and wholesome about Middle Earth was Galadriel?" And I'm hoping season two does a significantly better job of handling her and her character. She needs significant growth. She needs to also tone it down quite a bit. So it's going to be treading a very, very fine line for the character because she put everybody in the party in significantly dire situations all of last season. It seemed to be the major highlight of what her character was. She would turn situations that were okay into bad situations. She would turn moments that were supposedly good into okay situations because she came across with a terrible bedside manner and she didn't have the candor or the knowledge or just the overall ability just to speak coherently or at least even semi fair as a negotiator to kind of get the situation to go smoothly. She was continuously putting us in this weird middle space where you're just kind of constantly concerned by what she's going to say next and not really enjoy the product overall. I think the turn with Sauron was interesting. I don't think it was the best thing in the writing sphere that's ever been done. Gonna put that straight up out there. However, I do like that they were willing to make some interesting changes involving the character. Do I really like the costume that he's got for this season? No. It genuinely looks like you got a Party City wig and just there you go. You're good to go. And with a $1 billion production, the last thing people are going to expect is that you have costumes that are shabbily done. That's not what we're hoping for. I know this season we made some huge strides as far as costumes go because last season we went almost full CGI orcs, and I know there were the times that are unmentionables, the 2020s. They were recovering from the world's biggest pandemic we've ever seen, and there was only so many people allowed on set, so we had to CGI in a lot of things, and well, we all remember what the wargs look like. We all remember the memeable wargs. They were easily one of the worst things you've probably seen in the entirety of your days. It looked worse than The Hobbit made it, and The Hobbit wasn't exactly what I would call a highlight moment for the Lord of the Rings franchise with Peter Jackson. The wargs were just heinous, to say the least. And then we moved on, and now we're going to have live action orcs for this season. That's a huge step in the right direction. We've seen time and time again when we go to Middle Earth that the more live action you have pertaining to your characters, the better things have played out. Will that fix some of our big story issues? No, not at all. But can it help some of the realism? Can it help some people kind of realize what we're going to be expecting? Yes. And that's something that we can definitely work with. That's definitely something we can agree with. That's something that we can definitely hope for. As long as we have more sense of realism and it looks like the costumes are significantly better done this season, we could be striving for very, very good changes. The story still needs a bit of a touch up, but at the same time, I think the fans heard everyone loud and clear that we needed some things to be tweaked upon. I want this series to be great. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, you have to look at things through a critical lens. I, as a smaller channel and as part of a smaller channel with two excellent friends, we don't have a paid opinion. This is just literally our thoughts, our feelings, and just how we go about running a channel. We're not large enough for someone like say Prime Video to reach out and take a look and be like, hey, what do you think about this? You want to talk about this? You want some early insight on that? That's not us. We're not Nerd of the Rings, which is a fantastic channel and somewhere that I always recommend for people who want more deep knowledge pertaining to the Lord of the Rings. His channel is exceptional. But at the same time, I'm happy for those who have decided to check out our channel, see what we have to offer. Just a friendly reminder, I know we're almost about that time because Prime Video said about 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which honestly, this time frame is not ideal. This time frame I know worked for The Boys, but I don't anticipate it working in many regards for the Rings of Power as far as the watch time is concerned. It is significantly better for those over across the pond in the UK, which is why they went with the change for it. But by the same token, those of us in the good old US of A, midnight Pacific time, not terrible. Definitely not ideal for 3 episodes, all about an hour long. East Coast time wise, you guys are going through it. It means you definitely wanted to watch the series and be involved in the series. Because look, episode one has just dropped on Prime Video. Elven Kings Under the Sky is episode one's title, and that will be started off screen. Friendly reminder, we don't have any audio or video inside this frame here. It'll be me reacting. I'll sync up times with those who'll be watching on their Prime Video accounts off in the comment section, and we'll watch the episode together so we can have live feedback and kind of just pretend we're all sitting around the couch enjoying everything going on together. I do have commercials, and I'm going to have to suffer through them because, let's be honest, I'm a little cheap. So we're just going to have to push on through with that together. Episode one is live. One is live. We are back in Middle Earth. I'm excited to see what's going on, and I'm going to actually watch the recap just because normally I've rewatched the season by now, but I got about halfway through and then got busy with content involving Supermarket Simulator and Kite Man. Because I remember that she was in the water. She gets rescued by Sauron, who's out there for I don't know what reason, just fishing or hanging out or just being a sad bro. Don't really know. And they had that weird fish monster thing going on. And they had the battle versus the orcs that was actually decent. It's definitely not Lord of the Rings, the original, like Peter Jackson's adaptation. And then the fact that Sauron did nothing involving Adar was interesting. We had our wizard, which many are still speculating, and I'm still articulating that it should be a blue wizard. Anything involving either Gandalf or Saruman is a step in the wrong direction. The two blues are untouched, so having Ciaran Hinds as the other blue would be a definitely interesting play to go with, and I think that is totally in play. But we still need to figure out what's going on with the Harfoots and how they're handling their business because they're definitely an interesting side of the hobbits that we've never seen before, and I know they're not exactly the same. There's several different variations. The books go into great detail about it, but the Harfoots, as far as we've seen, are pretty savage. We don't leave anybody behind. The first thing that happens, people have bad moments, they get left behind. That's kind of dark for halflings and people of that nature. It's like you'd think you guys would kind of like stick together, horde mentality. This, but I guess that was not to be the case in that regard. And this season is going to cover a lot of Celebrimbor, and I'm very excited to see what we have going on with that because I know they are not lore friendly, but the Shadow War games, which are free on Prime Video for a time being, for those who have their Prime Gaming app, it's free. It's a fantastic game. The lore is not 1v1, but it covered a lot of Celebrimbor's story, like the Spark Notes edited version. So it's something to take a nice look going on. Yeah. And then Elrond and Galadriel had their moments of being like, oh no, we've been deceived. Sauron was here. He was hanging out with us this whole time. We made buddy buddy, and things are of interesting nature. We no longer can get along, but I'm hoping to see some adjustments to how that relationship worked out. And then again, having the three rings out this soon kind of muddies up the whole situation as far as the rings and focusing on things there. Last we saw, Sauron was hanging out over by Mordor, which was a very cool ending shot. But at the same token, we could have seen more of him kind of like having mental flashbacks as he was playing the field. So we'll see how things go. The flashback's now over, and we're starting immediately with the crown, which I have to say, it looks dope. I know a lot of people have been kind of like, oh, he forgot most of the crown. No, it's a fantastic look. I think it works great for him. So we'll see how Sauron is going to be able to handle his big moment in the thing. As it looks like he's holding basically high council in front of everybody. And directly in front of Adar, so that's peculiar. Huh. Forodwaith, Dawn of the Second Age. The orcs seem to be very captivated by this speech. Adar's not feeling this vibe whatsoever. The orcs are disgusting and volatile, and I'm here for it. Many orcs will die. I don't like that. That's the. Some of you may die. That is a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Oh, one of the orcs reaching for a weapon. So that's. We have an orc in the background who's not very fan of it. He's literally just straight up spitting straight gas right now. It's like, everyone hates you. I am your only option. Make this work. And this guy's going to take the moment. Oh. Oh, well, negotiations were short. It's like, good try, though. This is a much darker turn than season one. But for Sauron, I am 100% with it. So that's definitely the move on his part. And now they're kind of like, okay, we understand the violence. We can get behind this. We'll make this work. Although Adar's like, those are my children. And the one guy's like, all right, cool. I'm going to get the body out of the shot here. Let's make this work. And now it's like they're actually going to listen to the other boss, Adar. But he doesn't seem to be really gelling as well as everyone else is with this moment. Because he's reading the room correctly. It's interesting that it seems to be like some kind of common election. Because, orcs don't really seem like a society like, yeah, let's go aside and vote. It was very contentious. You can feel the tension in the room between everybody and what they had going on. And I don't really trust Adar right now. Yep, there it is. Yep. There we go. There's a betrayal we were expecting. And straight jumped. Because he is straight up dominating everybody in this fight. Even though there is like 6 or 7 of them that are going straight ham on him. Because now he has to fight off all the hordes here. This is definitely a bloodbath. Hmm. Yeah, not going so good for this guy. Adar has turned the tide. I believe this was the first iteration that we had of Sauron. The first time he made himself known, and Adar was like, "Nope, I definitely took him out. He definitely does not exist in our universe anymore because there is nothing left of this guy. When I mean he is, I mean they definitely went for the R rating on this one. Very interesting turn. Now they're definitely building the moment. There it is. Ah, that is an insane power up and change. For him to erupt like that and cause a giant snowstorm is definitely insane. Now everyone has been basically yeeted out of the sphere in only so many ways that we have seen. And everyone's slowly like, oh, okay, what happened? What was that? Because they just was like, yeah, we just took out someone of insane power and now kind of left having to figure out what to make of the pieces that we have here. But this would explain how Adar sees power. He was kind of an advisor, and yep, and the body is gone. So that was in fact Sauron, but they made the mistake of turning on him early, and we're now going to see his return to power as Adar will seize this moment and become the man that we all think he's supposed to be. Because it turns out the orcs apparently love a loving hand as opposed to a stern one. Not really what you'd anticipate. The show will not be on screen. That is against all legal rights, rules, copyrights, any of that stuff. So it will not be on stream. There will be other people willing to do that. I am not one of them. So I do apologize, but that is not the way we're doing things. Prime Video is the only place to go ahead and check it out. Thanks for watching, though. In the meantime, that you did, Twitch for you. Appreciate it. Okay, we're going through the cave system. Very interesting. I wonder if we're trying to have this be a pan out and switch on over to the dwarves and everything involving them. Nope. Because we have a channel of over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube that we worked over 3 years to make. I'm not going to throw that all away for a crisp high five from someone on Twitch because I broke some rules. No thanks. I am 100% the helmet that broke Vigo Mortensen's foot. We will follow the rules in only so many words. Oh, and there's the darkness eating a rat for nothing. Literally YouTube and literally Prime Video. And this black mass of entity is slowly just working its way through this system. And what in the world even is this? Is this the blob that literally became the Watcher, or is this Sauron? It's taking physical human forms. I would assume this is Sauron in some capacity, but it is hard to look at. It is not pleasant at all. I'm assuming this is human just based upon the it's they did not message me personally. It's in their rules if you have a channel. It's clearly spelled out in black and white that you should not stream anything you do not have the legal rights to. And clean sphere, well, circle, square, whatever the case may be. So, yeah, it will not be on. You can continue to bemoan the point. Long and the short of it, it won't be here, regardless of any argument presented. All right, the blob grabs onto the wheel. And she was not observed to see what's going on here. No, they do not. And that is their own choice. But it will not be something that happens on here for Geek Variants in any way, shape, or form. So that whatever that mass was just finished off that individual on the cart. She's gone, and so many words about it. And thus he was reborn. Not exactly the most ideal process, but this is more of a retelling of him coming back to life and going to re-seize everything that was rightfully his as Morgoth's number 2 in command that the orcs turned upon. But he will rectify that. The Dark Lord has risen. And so the music is definitely hitting just as it did in season 1, so they've done a fantastic job with the continuation of that. We're getting more of the in-depth of the character and the study of the character, as where Peter Jackson's adaptation, while brilliant, they couldn't really use the time they had to delve into the intricacies involving Sauron. And a lot of people still didn't like that Sauron was turned from a powerful character into a floating eye. But again, the things were as they were. He's out here in the east. A fun conversation they're having on the road. Interesting heraldries. Very, very articulately done. This, this old dude is optimism beyond all reasons. Nah. So this old man is accidentally going to lead Sauron down the path of being like, hey, you know, that beautiful city of men. Let's see how you can go ahead and change what's going on over there. I don't update things in that regard. Give him definitely the time of day, a bunch of kindly words. So that's very interesting to see in only so many regards. There's a ship on the way. People seem to be hanging out on the boat, and he has made his way onto it. And then I'm wondering if this is the boat that goes down. And yep, this is the boat that goes down because that is in fact that sea monster from, oh, that's huge. From season 1. I forgot how big that thing was. And we're going to see it attack the ship. Everyone go down. Sauron can sense it. And now we're going to be able to see how he ran into Galadriel and met for the first time. So he joined up with the simple family man and thought very compelled to hang out with them. You've chosen good. Did I? Or are you just telling me I did? Because his nature is not, it's not good. And now he's hearing the same thing everyone else is, so that this boat is about to go down in no uncertain terms. He's like, just grab on. Anything. Something. Hope for the best. He's like, help, I just took care of you. And as everything's crashing, he's like, I'm going to hold on to this. I'm going to use that for later. Don't worry about it. Because it turns out that this fish monster is far more powerful and more of a story mover than most of us would have expected. But now we're going to get the creepy shot of it going straight at Sauron. Oh, that's terrifying. I do not mess with deep ocean for any number of reasons, but they did a great job on CGI here. All of the nope. Mm. It saw Sauron, went right for him, and then he just made a couple eye gestures at it and was like, what you gonna do, fish? I'm the Dark Lord. And it just swam off as if it was a part of his will that forced the situation to be taken care of. And then he was out here playing the medallion. Galadriel shows up sometime later, and we're all here. Everyone's out here making friends, which will catch us all up to speed and get us back to season 1. Not a bad job writing as far as that's concerned. Still not what I would consider ideal, but again, I'm not a writer. What do I know about the intricacies of making these stories come to life? Because if someone was giving you that look as they're saving your life, maybe don't trust them. Like, things have gone awry somewhere. So we went through all these series of events. There's Elrond and Galadriel being dope on some horses. Also, definitely not a word that I'd associate with Middle Earth. Because I believe they're taking the rings back on home. Be like, hey, we got some shiny trinkets. What do we do with this? Anyone have any ideas? This is the weirdest game of keep away ever. Aaron out here just being like, gotcha. Little switcheroo on you. It's like you thought I was there, and then I wasn't. She's like, I just got duped. He made all the right moves. It's like, yep, you see these? No trust. Don't like, can't be a fan of it. Now go Gallant, welcome back. Everyone's just up sitting here. Good times. Yeah, times. Yeah, we don't necessarily need a boost in viewership from weird sites. Not paying for that. Not doing any of that. Appreciate it though. Thanks for the time, I guess. Our channel's doing just fine as is. I could be streaming to one person or 100. Makes no difference to me. Be watching Rings of Power with my fellow geeks either way. Gil Galad is like, I am having none of your shenanigans, madam. This man just forged some rings. Oh, we're gonna stick with the "He is no man" line. Gil Galad calls shenanigans. Hey, Farva, what was that favorite restaurant? Oh, shenanigans. And then everyone's just like, mm-mm. Exclaims Cinderin. Okay, that's interesting. I mean, Elrond wasn't really there. The king's like, hey, I'm telling you to shut it. Please, shut it. The king is like, I am doing kingly business. I will make this work. Carry on as best we can. Don't you have enough rings on right now, Gil-galad? You have like 6 rings on. You don't necessarily need another one. But all right, let's continue to accessorize. It's his greatest weakness. Accessories. I love how those guards were just straight up didn't need to be summoned. They just knew and kind of understood the assignment. We're like, let's in there. Elrond versus all, which we know how this goes. He's going to eventually put the rings out, and everyone's going to be like, okay, eventually we'll decide to use this. We're just holding up the moment right now. So what are you gonna do? Like eat them off into the distance and then have him whip you up 3 more? You can't. No one saw the waterfall as an escape route. The guards just walk off out of the sight. Just yeah, all right. Well, we'll handle this as best we can. And then we go back to Mordor. The Ring of Fire, the Shadow, all the people now enslaved, being held against their will. Sauron is pretending to be one of them because he wants to be brought directly to Adar. And first people are jokingly calling him king. That's something. Not really the ideal move, but yeah. Oh, that guy got a huge job promotion from being simple evil farmer to now the number one to Adar, who's still holding the magic sword. Oh, well, he didn't really have time to make anything. This feels very Game of Thrones esque. Yeah. Yep. Oh. Yep. Getting branded is not really the best move. And this guy's gonna take one look at Adar and be like, "Huh, I kind of remember you. We had a falling out." So he made it all the way here just to have this moment. The face off once more. Hmm. He's like, really? He's like, we're gonna go about this route. This is how we're gonna handle our business. The men from beyond the sea. They're just in the sea at some distance. Would be probably the correct way of that. This is gonna be the huge plot point of season 2. Adar versus Sauron. Hmm. Power over flesh. And he's gonna try and play the long con of I'm gonna try and dupe Adar so we can make things work. Using the fake names and fake titles. Zadar is still very worried about his title as king. Sauron is going to continue to negotiate and scheme and ploy his way to a more enviable position. Ouch. That's not good for the good old shoulder this day. Yeah, this guy from the Southland's turned to be very, very bad news. And all the orcs are like, Sauron can't combat, right? We don't have to pay for our sins, please. Like, for all intents and purposes, please don't make us go back to our bad boss. And we're going back to the ideally blue wizard, but he's giving a lot of Gandalf vibes, which seems to be still a major talking point for the show is how they're going to use him now that he's made it out past the woods and to the east. We're missing one Harfoot though. Hopefully he runs into Tom Bombadil shortly. And we see how that goes. And Tom is still the same goofball that we know and enjoy thoroughly. The floating magic staff. Is that a dream or some kind of dark magic that they're using him? Or is this Sauron? Still insane flashbacks. I'm assuming that was more or less a dream of his, and he's going to find some sense or logic or reason to the thing. Yeah, he sees. That's the only look this guy ever has. Welcome in, welcome in. Hello, hello. The wizard's far more eloquent than he was last season, but there are eyes on the two of them, and those are not friendly eyes. That mask is super, super cool looking. Definitely more Eastern inspired than Western inspired, that's for dang sure. Almost Final Fantasy esque, though. Maybe with a little bit of Assassin's Creed splash in there. They've been eating snails this entire time. Is that the route we've truly been going? Is that how we really want to go about things? It's very bizarre. Hmm. I wonder if he's be able to use magic of some kind to get water out of the ground. Hmm. She's encouraging him to use magic. They're definitely having him work on his magic, anyways. The show is already out. It's on Prime Video, and I'm watching it off screen as I don't have legal rights, permissions, or authorities to show any audio or video in this particular square here, so it won't be up in that regard. So I do apologize if that's what you're hoping to see, but it will not be in here. Because the show is now definitely more catered for the United Kingdom time zone, as it's only like the evening over there, as where it's midnight in the US or 3 a.m. depending upon which side of the coast you're at. Which will definitely hurt viewership numbers, but we'll see how it goes. The wizard is trying to coax this tree to give forth fruit, but as he's struggling to relearn magic, I'm assuming things are going to go poorly. Yep. He, instead of making the tree bear fruit, he erupted it. Well, how else are you going to learn magic, I guess, but trial and error? Nope. He made bugs come out of the tree, and it's like, now we're going to eat for days. I mean, bugs are delicacy places in the world, but for me, I might risk starvation because I'm a picky eater. I don't think bugs are that high on my to eat list. And he's still very harsh on himself in terms of learning magic. But again, I can't imagine magic is something that would be easy to learn or understand, considering there is minimal, if not any, in today's world, let alone on the Lord of the Rings scale. Huge difference between fantasy and reality. Wizards are always cryptic, and wizards are not always fair. They arrive precisely when they mean to. Would be the worst way they can go about it. They seem to be enjoying their bug feast, though. That's another. That's gross. Whatever. She left her whole group of people and her entire family to go off on a wild goose chase with a wizard who's unsure of what he's trying to do. It's definitely interesting to see how things are going in that regard. Homesickness is definitely a interesting condition for many. Can imagine it's always going to be the most ideal. Mm, It's like I don't remember my home, family, my background, nothing. It seems a glimmer. I think we're definitely getting Blue Wizard vibes because I can't imagine they're going to go the Gandalf route with the wizard. I just, I know he dropped the quote, but I don't. I think that is a complete intentional misdirection. I'm giving the writers some credit in that regard. And I know a lot of people had feelings about season one's writing, and they had right to have some misgivings. So I would imagine that the person that following them will either be the mask folk, followed by Tom Bombadil coming out here with the save. Sauron is there. Okay, that's better ish. Is that an actual warg compared to what we saw last season? Because last season's warg was something, or is this just a wild dog? It doesn't have a subtitle to it. Mm, mm, mm. Things that are evil continue to be drawn to Sauron. Mm. Waltrig is just like, come on, give me the scoop, give me the 411. Tell me about your friends and your powers. Like, what's going on? Because they're definitely going to just try and coax more information out of him. But again, you're trying to basically torture the Dark Lord. Like, how is that going to work out for you? I'm gonna say he's not really swinging all that good, which is definitely an interesting. Like, if you're going to show that someone is going through actual suffering, I think the intensity of the moment should be a little bit higher. I understand people's aversion to that kind of content, but again, we saw literally Sauron basically get jumped by orcs, and we're back with the creature again. It was scared off last time by the other followers, but now it's here in all of its unhingedness. I wonder if he's going to offer the meat to the creature. And of course he is, because we're going to build up the tensity of the moment. And now it has got the meat. And he looks like he's trying to claim dominionship over the beast. And it worked. Just like that. Look at that. They made friends. That's going to be how he escapes. He's going to use a warg, which, for all intents and purposes, they look a little bit better than last season. But again, the bar was like off screen low. No, we'll see how things play out in that regard. Is it really going to? Elrond is literally hiding under a bridge. Tell me a riddle, and you must pay my toll. Is basically the vibe that Elrond is giving off there. Just trying to hide as best he can, holding on to the rings, playing a good old game of keep away. Now we're seeing the intricacies of them making a boat, which, beautiful and Great craft. Searden. Very interesting that we're going this route. That is definitely a name drop. So that's not a route I wasn't anticipating them going, but for the purpose of the show, we will have to allow it. It's not like we have any say in the matter, whether it be for Token's legacy or otherwise. It's like I know you've been hiding around it. It is what it is. Just come on out, say hello, introduce yourself to the folks. He's like, you know, everyone under the sun is looking for you right now. Mm. He just literally jumped completely out of things. He's definitely not a fan of the policy that's going to. Gilgalad actually making their wise moves here. Look, tell Kelly Brimbor, no more. Stop with the ring business. It's not good. Halbrand is Sauron. Don't play this game. There's no prizes to be had here. We're at a fool's errand going off on this quest. Trusting you. He's like, I didn't really have a choice in the matter. Things didn't go good. Things went awry. It's like we're friends in name alone, but not titles. She's still carrying the same tone as last season of more insolence than anything. I guess as a part of her character arc to grow from all this. He's like, you have been an annoyance and a pain in my butt. However, however, I trust your virtue will fix things. I will say the elves, as far as the intricacies of the helmets go, leave something to be desired. It looks like you just kind of adopted old Roman helmets and left them as bland as possible, which, with the budget they're working with, you can't really use as an excuse. The orcs look incredible this season. Elves kind of look like they went to Party Hollywood or went to a Halloween store and got their costumes there. Spirit Halloween, maybe? And he's like, you really think he's over there hanging out with Cyrodiil? Everyone's giving Celebrimbor his props. This guy's definitely giving Liam Neeson vibes. But again, they're praising Celebrimbor at the worst possible time because Celebrimbor's work is the downfall of so many. Elrond sees the bigger picture, but at this time he's still blinded by his fears. Because what could really be done here? Because this actor is definitely giving us Holocirdan. I was not anticipating him to be on screen in this majesty with this much presence. But it's a very great casting hire so far. Because it's definitely giving off Sirius Black vibes from Harry Potter, where all of a sudden you just see the actor, you're like, oh, hmm, I like what we have here. Yeah, man, way. We're just gonna name drop gods now, and that's the route we've gone with this. And Elrond's like, yeah, I've been busted correctly. Sent. Wow, the High King himself was free enough to go make this happen. He's like, hurry up! I didn't ride all the way here for you to just drop the ball again, Galadriel. Please, please, get this together. Make this work. Círdan's gone, so I wonder if he handed off the rings already and was just like, we have to make this work. The writing seems to be taking a more intricate turn, but again, asking them to speak on any level, which Tolkien did, is not a fair ask. Will he be able to trust the ring? How are they going to go about making this loophole work? Everyone's like, the rings could be free, but girl, I see this ship that people have done between you and Sauron. Not feeling the vibe. She was able to deduce that he was literally stalling to buy time. That Círdan now has the rings. And he is off on a quest of his own. He literally just duped everyone. Was like, peace, I'm out. Just sitting there all majestic on his little boat, having a great time, enjoying his adventures. Good for Círdan. Very peculiar. They have a trap set to try and lure in whoever is following. It's going to be Tom Bombadil. It's not going to be who we are anticipating. Not exactly the person you'd want to try and take out in the middle of nowhere. Now we're going to try and hit him with a rock. Okay. That's not going to work in any number of regards, but let's go ahead and try it. Nope. Nope, they just took out Poppy. Now she made her way all the way out here. Defenseless without food is definitely bizarre. Poppy joins the crew. How she was able to find them even though they were lost is peculiar. Hmm. Yep, they had a map. Look at them. They have to sing their way to answers. Do you have any tall objects in the distance? Because that would be where you would start. So Poppy came in exceptionally clutch with just the right Deus Ex Machina to get us there. But it's much more upbeat than the opening was. I'll give them that because the opening was dark. But again, Amazon's going to Amazon. They're going to take some interesting. They're heading off to Rune. So they are in the east. Definitely made a interesting journey. Looking at my maps off behind the monitor, just so I can envision where they're at. I would never count it as good if people are like, "Yeah, I had a dream we were here once," and you've never physically been there. I would consider that more ominous than anything, because the people in the masks are still following them and keeping an eye on what they're doing. Very interesting. See how things are going to continue to play on that regard. They have the eye on their saddle. The one who's wearing the mask is definitely in charge. Of the Harfoots with the one eye. Hmm. Hmm. Wonder what just hit his boat or caused it to rock. Now he's even thinking about the rings. Like, gear them? No. No. Don't do that. Now he's taking a look, of course. Why would you not take a look? Definitely makes things more peculiar in any regard. Not really sure it's the correct move in any number of ways. Of course, he opens up the rings, and Sauron's remembering what was happening to him initially. There's going to be a lot of exposition between these two. Of course, he has 13 followers. Anders had a weird life. I'm still wondering what happened to his face. He's got a lot going on here. He just called Sauron beautiful, even though he was a dude. That's definitely true. And someone's like, yeah, I would know. I was there. I was the one that did it. Thanks. It's like, yeah, people have been set free. I'm pretty sure they're just not with us anymore on this plane of existence. He's just talking about himself in the third person. The funny thing is, he's literally just like, I went here by own volition. I got caught on my own, and now we're going to have you set me free. I'm going to go manipulate the elves again, make things work. You're just going to have to trust me in this regard, because the elves will only trust me, not you. And he's going to have to be, once again, ingratiated to serving Adar. And he's just like, eh, am I really going to have to lie about this and pretend to be a servant to somebody else? Oh, wow, he is. Sauron's like, I'm going to play the long con forever until I'm ready to seize my moment. Why he's going to these lengths to do them rather than just seizing him by force, I think that more or less shows his learning from his first go round didn't work. Hadar's like, I want this to be as crystal clear as possible. Worship at my feet. Otherwise, I ain't buying it. And Sauron's like, I'm going to remember this, and we're gonna make this moment pay off. I vow to serve the Lord of Mordor. He's like, I'm swearing to myself, basically. You just don't know it yet. He's giving in directly to his darkest and most evil thoughts, which is fantastic. That's the Dark Lord that we're all hoping for and expecting. And then all the orcs are kind of like eyeballing him, like, yo, I don't trust any of this. Hmm. Waldrig went with an unhappy end. Sauron's like, oopsie. Big old smile on his face as he leaves. My bad. It's like, I set this trap for you and it worked beautifully. When he returned the crown. Waldrig. You had a good run. Yeah. But again, that's kind of what you get when you play these kind of games with Sauron, of all people. I don't think a happy ending is what people would expect. Gilgalad's got some pipes on him, singing to the tree, basically to the end of times. No one went out on another boat that they had nearby to go get gear them. We're leaving that untouched. Very interesting that they were leaving that plot point kind of loose and vague. But again, I think that's going to serve the same purpose the sword initially did for season one, unless Kirtan is going to walk right through this out right now and be like, hey, here, got the thing, got the stuff. Mm. Got a lot of elves. They look fairly well done. So they're doing a pretty good job with that. Costumes are far better than last season. Good for them. And they've cured them. Yep. He just showed up and like, hey, what's up, everybody? I got the gifts. I got the goods. Should you want them? Everyone's like, am I should it being portrayed right now? Nah, of course he's wearing one of the rings. He is a fan of the project that was made. And now, whether influenced or otherwise, he's brought the rings to Gil-galad, who is, as we all know, a huge fan of accessories. Okay, and this is how we're going to get the shot of the three. Elrond is still not trusting anybody or anything. And now, because the ring fell near Galadriel, she's going to take it as a sign. Like, this is meant to be. This was predestined. That's what they're going for with the subtle suggestion, as opposed to, hey, someone just literally dropped it and just went, boop, away it goes. She's going to put it on regardless of what you say, my friend. This is not the Galadriel that we know of. Somehow she grows like, what, 2 feet in height between now and The Hobbit. Yeah. She didn't even question it. She's like, ring goes on finger. Everybody good with that? Cool, because we're doing this. And Gil-galad's waiting for like some kind of like shocking change. Nope, he didn't wait for that as well. But the ring right on. I laugh if it just doesn't fit. Can someone get this resized? Anyone know a jeweler? Not Celebrimbor? Because the rings are going to give them their great illusion and their great moment of believing that they can save the day. The light of Valinor will shine once more upon the elves, but for a brief period. But this music could definitely crescendo off into some dark moment at any time. But the tree is being reinvigorated, which is supposed to be symbolic of the elves once more returning in full power and majesty and glory. But again, could be a very significant ploy from Sauron. Because we know they're taking significant liberties. So we'll see ultimately how it plays out. A very beautiful shot, very scenic, very well done. Prime Video has attempted to redeem themselves significantly over what happened with season 1. Accuracy and lore are still to be debated, but currently enjoying episode 1. Very minimal, I would see here as something to be concerned about. My only next concern is where we're next going to see Sauron, if he's going to have already made his way to Celebrimbor and begun his journey as Anatar, gift giver, and making everyone else slowly fall under his dominion, because we haven't seen the dwarves yet. So I'm going to anticipate that's where we're going to end episode 1, seeing how everything's going. So we got Círdan, Galadriel, Gil-galad. We're all showing off our bling together in our fancy triangle. Be like, see how cool we are. We got the look. We got the vibes. We're the moment. Gil-galad seems so much more extra comparatively to everybody else in many regards. Yep, we went straight to the forges of Celebrimbor, so we are moving along quite nicely. We'll slowly start to see the corruption as things go on. Also, why do you keep an anvil in the ceiling? That seems so extra, my friend. Like, just keep it in the room. You don't need to have the heaviest object at the roof. Because they've done some upgrades on the forge. Because Celebrimbor is trying to make his mark on things. Oh. From the south? Oh, he made some friends. And Anatar has arrived in all of his majesty. Hey, Celebrimbor, you remember me? I'm back. The armor looks significantly better for Celebrimbor's people than for the people of Lindon. Very interesting. The banners look very, very much like Rohan, but they're not. definitely not a horse on there. He's already inside. It's kind of late for that. Because he knows exactly who or what that is. He wants to make his mark so dang badly. He's going to fumble the bag for all of us. Oh, Celebrimbor. Yep. No dwarves on this episode, which is definitely an interesting turn on things. All right, let's get on to episode 2. Episode 2. All right, let's move on, everybody. Let's move on. Episode 2. I want to skip the recap involving the dwarves. I remember for the most part what happened with them. It was pretty straightforward. I want to get into the goods that makes this series try and cook. What is episode 2's title? Where the Stars Are Strange, which would be out in the east. So we're starting with Khazad-dûm on this one because we didn't even discuss them in episode 1 whatsoever. The dwarves weren't even nary a mention. That's super cool statue of the dwarves. So very, very interesting. Their light system is impeccably done. Music is making you believe we're about to have this insanely dark and powerful moment. So once again, the composer or artiste behind the music is cooking in all capacities for making this series work. Hmm. Hmm. It's typical husband and wife argument. Are you really going to spend all that money on that? Are you sure? Because I'm not really sure about that. He got outcasted. Fantastic to see. She got a little bit of a 5 o'clock shadow growing off to the side there, so she's picking up more of like the dwarf-esque qualities. It's a good touch. I think they've done good in that regard. He's definitely moved on in some regards. This is definitely having an estranged relationship with his father. And she's having like a moment in the market where she's feeling that like the rumblings of Khazad-dûm. Yep, the market is going down, and oh, there's the big boulder shot we saw that takes out the bridge because Khazad-dûm is having a moment. Issa seems to be the only person there that had any sense. Because it's not ideal, definitely, that your mountain is now having rocks fall correctly on through. Now the lights are slowly going out. Ain't that magical? Like, hey, did someone forget to pay the power bill in here? It's like, oh, it is pitch black now. We can't see anything going on. And we're going to skip the intro. No offense. Want to get directly into the meat and potatoes of this just due to the time constraint that is, 1:15 in the morning. Hanging out when watching Rings of Power. And if you've managed to make it this far in the stream, be sure to hit that lovely red subscribe button. Greatly helps the channel out. Or just hit a like button. That is also appreciated. Dislikes, as well. Also appreciate it. If there's stuff you want us to improve upon, let us know. Because they're definitely spending a lot more time working on their Elvish this season. I don't remember them using Elvish this much last season as they did this one, but things have really worked on. There's her brother immortalized in a tree, which I guess is poetic in a way, but you know, Caleb Brimore had been summoned here and just hanging out. Unexpected visitor. Ah, she's having a nightmare. Ah, good. More nightmare sequences. It seems like the easy go route as far as getting shock value is concerned for writers these days to include nightmare sequences. Things work out. And now he's reading out his famous line: 3 rings for the elf lords, 7 for the dwarf lords and the hall of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die. And they're definitely not straying away from the gore elements that pertained with season 1. And it's kind of foreseeing Celebrimbor's doom over everything. Hmm. Everyone's out here. We're having a war council on what to do about Sauron. The information they have is surprisingly accurately. It's like if we crush Adar, we don't have to worry about everything else. Hmm. Gilgalad's like, girl, are you tripping? Like, what's going on right now? It's like, you just saw something, and I want to know what that was. Because you're not normally this off. Sauron's gonna be out here making moves. Anatar, gift giver, has come to me in a vision again. The Lord of Middle Earth. Yeah, that writing was predictable. But if he's able to use Celebrimbor's rings, he'll be able to further articulate his own desires, his whims, if you will, and get things put into place. And already people are doing the whole, hey, not my ring. Nope, you can't have that. No, thank you. These are mine. He's like, Aragon can't fall if I ever wanted it to. I want to make sure about in all regards. It's like a 10-foot high wall. No one's gonna get past it. Come on. Simply can't happen. I'm Gilgalad. I know what I'm talking about. Come on, listen to me. But she's not informing Gilgalad of anything going on in her visions, which you should. Sauron is making moves, making money moves. She's like, this ring keeps giving me visions and having nightmare. I wonder if Gilgalad's had anything pertaining from his going on. Is this part of her transition to a more ethereal character because she puts the ring on, she suddenly changes personalities? Very peculiar for them to go that route. It's a nice change, though, I would say. if she's going to be more wise, more stoic, with more resolute, if you will. Gal's like, girl, you're not going back to that dude. We saw what happened last time. Like, we're not playing this game. There's no prizes to be had here. The Dark Lord already trifled with you once. We already deal with the internet shipping you guys. Let's put that to bed and move on. Gilgalad's making some wise decisions. It's like, we need to stop this nonsense. Just because you know his mind is not going to make things change, Cledra. He's a Dark Lord, and right now not you're not it. Because if you still keep calling by his fake name, then girl, you're not ready for it. Aragon is absolutely stunning. I'm going to say that much. It's going to be a shame to see what happens to it, as the season progresses. But currently, it is quite the realm. They did fairly good with everything going on. They didn't CGI in a bunch of stuff. Mm, mm, mm. The armor is definitely the look for Aragon. I don't understand his new accent he's adopting. Sauron is still once more crafting his schemes, just being like, not really going to be falling for anything. And he showed off the scar on his back he got from Adar. So he refuses to leave. We have an army. We could literally just go up, up, over the wall. But temptation will get to Celebrimbor again. Oh, we're gonna take care of him because he's injured. Okay, got it. That's interesting, I guess. I mean, I understand hospitality and all that, but at the same moment, not what I consider the best. Oh, that's just a random elf. Him and his horse were taken out, so I would assume the orcs have. A bunch of them have been taken out. Adar is. They took out the messenger that was trying to get to Celebrimbor. Deliver the message, but they were taken out on the road. Either by Sauron or Adar ensuring that things would play out to their advantage. And a horse in the east. See, those are just more Easterling men or Eastern style of men. Can't necessarily label them as that. Oh, no. That, I believe, is our boy, if I'm not mistaken. Our future king. Nope, not him. I thought that was hair. That's just his hood. Garrus Gaer, the Western Rune. Which has our Ciaran Hines wizard sitting on the throne. So we're going to see our first introduction to him. He seems to be the one that was in charge of the three that appeared last season. And we're trying to get the wizard to join them. He's definitely giving off Saruman vibes without being Saruman. So. Mm. Definitely peculiar, doing some kind of offering in blood. Okay, that's something. He's got things functioning in Rune very interestingly. These butterflies are just going to town, making this weird little moment. He's got a significantly better hold on his magic than the wizard that we are used to seeing. Hmm. I wonder what the a disembodied voice inside butterflies. Exactly what you're hoping for to see on a regular day. Because it seems to be fluctuating as some kind of spirit. I wonder which spirit it necessarily is, though. No, that summoned a person out of butterflies. I guess that's a magic trick. That ah, it was the leader from season one. White Wings. White Wings. We have an Istar that has joined the playing field as a wizard. Oh, he's labeled as the Dark Wizard. This guy is basically the guy calling the. Is that a Balrog that he's got hanging out in the background? Something was growling. Hmm. He's trying to bargain with him. His name is Brank. I don't think you should keep saying acolyte. Triggers up a lot of PTSD amongst folks now. He's a curse upon his people from the wizard. Rune is definitely not the best place to hang out if the Dark Wizard is hanging out there and putting curses on people's flesh. Not ideal. Wouldn't make good for friends that way. Mm. No one can give you a name? I'm pretty sure that's how being born works. You are now. I understand the deep mysteries of like when certain people say your name, you're like, oh yeah, that's the move. I like that. But mm. They continue the quest for finding the wizard's name because in his name would have power. And right now, Poppy is the only one who is actually navigating and helping our friends figure out what to do. Because they still haven't specified where exactly they're going. All they said is, I'm going to head east. The wizard also, while he is a good actor, I think the less lines he has moving forward, probably the better we can keep the mystery going. But he's not giving Gandalf vibes, I can assure you of that. And then Prime Video once more with commercials because, well, that's just the way business works, baby. You got to put these ads on to pay them bills. And I'm still putting out Mission Impossible commercials. I still forget that franchise is even active. And now we're back. Scorpions and cactus. Yeah. And they're just continuing to be like, hey, wizard, magic food? Please? Help? Something? Maybe anything? Let's try and push things in that kind of a direction. Help us along. And the wizard's like, yep, we are being followed, or we're about to be straight up attacked. And Tom Bombadil might be the only savior that they could have against these men of ruin who are only here because the wizard is put this curse upon them and their flesh. He looks around. Hey, where'd everybody go? You kind of left me out here in the middle of nowhere. Their leader is called Barank, which cool name, definitely interesting. Their masks are definitely now less more of an aesthetic choice and more of a necessity due to the fact that, well, they have a curse on their flesh. To the extent of what that curse is, I don't know, because the rest of their face, their bodies look fine. Yep. Oh no, not snakes. The snakes are legitimately the worst. Snakes and deep sea snakes. Big nose for me. It's no for me, dog. The other friend that they had was named Kilta, Kilta. Rank and Kilta, and their other friend, who is still not named, is still searching for them. Not very good trackers if they were like a foot from them. Like, I guess we're gonna have to risk the shortcut going in broad daylight where there's no cover. Well, now that we know we're being directly tracked, I think you guys are supposed to say that line in sync. But all right, you were off by a couple seconds, just so we're clear. Going back to Casa Doom, which now we're seeing that one dwarven king that they had on the side of the statue has now fallen due to some kind of earthquake. Everyone's having some good round of gossip in the dwarven kingdom. Because something terrible is definitely happening. The armor is definitely great for the Khazad-dûm dwarves. We're seeing the king trying to fix a lot of issues going on of all I think is gonna. Because a fire mountain. So a mountain erupted that only affected what they have here, which destroyed their entire civilization in a couple of seconds. So they're trying to figure out the way to fix the sun path to get everything going back on plan, which is not ideal. But now these three are going to sing to the path because I guess that's what dwarves do. I'm not all the way up on dwarf lore the way I should be coming into the season, but to fix the area, they're going to make this work, I guess. But again, putting a whole society underground, while very cool in theory, in practice would be exceptionally difficult to ensure that, you know, all things good and green work. Nope, not ideal. Made things worse, unfortunately. That's unfortunate. The Stone Singers have failed. King Duran's got to be like, yeah, I am cursed, man. I got the one group of Stone Singers who can't get the job right. Because now they need to fix Kaza Doom, or they'll just face their doom. Because the Stone Singers are supposed to help everybody out, so you didn't necessarily have to send these people in physically to make this work. Because what little light they had, well, now that's gone. The King's like, hey, daughter-in-law, what's up? We need to talk. We need to make this moment work. Like figure out what's been going on here. The awkward family interaction. There we go. The stubborn dwarfs. Yeah. They just won't have a simple father and son conversation. Stubborn is not necessary strength. I get it. Mm-mm-mm. It's like, hey guys, just get in the room and figure it out. Awkward family moments. Lisa's got some serious strength to him. She's literally just being like, look, I know you're my king and my father-in-law, but you bozos need to figure it out and have that straight conversation about what's going on. And the dwarves are out here just doing straight bullying each other. It's like you've lived a spoiled life. You don't know what actual work is. It's like, all right. He's getting bullied residually because of his dad. Oh, and we're gonna have a little moment of confrontation. Nah. They really wanted to bully him, and he just was like, I'm just gonna have to sit here and take it because I can't really go off attacking my fellow kin, even if they're just kind of being jerks at the moment. So Prince Durin is not having a good time of things. It's like, I'm Blizzard. People are bullying me. It's like, this bread tastes like from last year. It is. Deal with it. Uh, it's like you insufferable nitwit. Drop your pride. Go talk to your dad. Have a conversation. Like you don't have to be right. You just have to be willing to make the necessary decision for your family and your people. Instead, you got your head up the wrong end, trying to force things to make it work. Because she's spitting. I know people have strong feelings about Disa as a character, but she's spitting. One of season one's highlight characters for me. Mm. Alron's just hanging out with the shipbuilders now. He's like, I don't want to do anything anymore. I just want to make boats. I'm a boat guy. I know I'm gonna be like a lord someday, but I want to hang out with boats. Alron's like, really? You're gonna get me involved in this garbage again? How many times, man? Yep, Elrond is still being something. Galadriel's like, he won't let me go on my own, so you need to go because you're not trusted, girl. Oh, I was going to quickly remind her. It's like the issue was going on. Elrond really just wants Galadriel to go through and be like, go ahead and go off on it. She's like, you've broken all the rules, you made all the mistakes, this is your fault. So a lot of the sins of season one are being paid off in season two. Nice. That. Switch to water. He's like, he played you like a fiddle, girl. You were bought, sold, and fixed. Elrond apparently is the only elf capable of understanding the depths of Sauron's character. Is interesting, but not entirely against it by any means. Seen worse things happen. She's definitely going through a lot of moments. And we're still going to keep pushing that ship, are we? It's like, just, you know, fix things, okay? He's like, you still carry everything's going. You made the same mistake you have done before. He's gonna go from I'll have no part in it to eventually I'll be wearing these rings later on in The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings like it ain't nothing. So there's gonna be a significant change from a staunch departure of his character that someone's going to shake him enough to move him in that regard. But currently, he's like, I would rather just work on building a boat than being any part of what's going on with the major plot in this season. It's like I will not be privy to all the other downfalls of everyone else, even though he's the only one seeing the mission and the objective clearly. That Sauron has gotten everybody just by the ankles. Kieran out here shaving. Should have kept the beard, but hey, personal preference. Mm-mm-mm. Kieran is out here just going over everything work is happening here as the elves continuously go over their history of their great individuals of the time and the mistake that they made. It's like, hey, let the gods judge. We're just men, dude. You just need to be patient. Let things play out as they may. Because this episode is likely going to be the moment of winning Elrond over. This entire episode is going to just be trying to get him to go ahead and make these things play out correctly. He's slowly working on figuring out his power of the ring. And Kieran's like, look, I can use the ring in some facets, but again, we need to be the only ones to stand against it because, like, you really want these in the hands of men? Or what do you want to do with these things? Because Kieran will have to win him over because Sauron is definitely going to be whispering in Celebrimbor's ears. A bunch of pretty lies, but lies nonetheless to make things play out in his favor. Yeah, and they're going across the desert still. The wizard is staunchly in front of the Harfoots. Good old Poppy Neri. And now he's carrying them, because I guess they're on break. Not really the ideal workplace setup. Have to drag human beings across the way, but again, Poppy's probably going to see. I think it's gonna. Nope. And we've exhausted the wizard. Our only form of defense out here. Not the move, everybody. All right, we've accidentally KO'd our wizard. So he's not breathing, so we're going to drag him all the way into the well. But this honestly looks like the well we saw Tom Bombadil around. So we'll see how it goes. But also, Poppy right now is season two's best player for the good side. Everyone else still seems to be squabbling over minor trifles. You got the eye once more showing up there. Okay. That's a lot of water. Nope. Nope. Tell everyone in any mile vicinity that, hey, we're here. Like, you want to do something about that? Hmm. Hmm. He was just significantly dehydrated. Hmm. Hmm. We leave. Maybe this is why wizards aren't exactly fans of halflings for a while. It's like you nearly ended one of them very early. Mm. And now the wizard is going to have a moment. Because there's, yep, a staff. A very peculiar looking staff. He's slowly following his visions and finding some kinds of answer there. And there's now horses. So the men of Rune have in fact found them, and things are about to go from bad to worse. But will they dare make a move? Still yet to be decided. Because right now it's 5 against 3, and everyone is dehydrated and worn out. And he's trying to reason and negotiate. Nope. Good thing they're terrible with arrows. It's like, we have the answers you're looking for. And now he's using. There we go. Will he be able to control his. Oh, yeah, he's controlling the magic to an extent. He may want to make that sandstorm a little smaller, my guy. Because that is out of control. Because Kilta, Godrum, and Brink all just got annihilated there. Now the stranger's going to need to bring that way down because Nori and Poppy are getting just smacked around. This would be a great time for Mombadil to show up and make his dramatic entrance to fixing the situation because the magic is far outside of his center grab hand. Yep. And the staff's gone. He's made a mistake. Yeah, he made a significant miscalculation. The fact that this well has survived this giant sandstorm to this extent is wild. Oh, and there they go. Hmm. Not good. Definitely not ideal. Celebrimbor out here back at work. Ah, I can. Hmm. Uh, he's figuring out how to make the moon doors, which only are, light of the moon can illuminate. So he's quite tickled themselves. Mithril. The good old Mithril doors. Fantastic. And he's going to be standing out here on the ledge, and of course he's going to look over and be like, Sauron is just still hanging out down there. Because he's just going to stand there in the center of town and just be like, yep, you will see me eventually. Temptation will take you. It's like, I just have to sit here and wait. He's like, I know what my destiny is here and how things will play out. I don't know if he's the one summoning the weather or he's just having the perfect poetic timing of being the stranger who's out in the rain. Because with his intense focus, it could have been him that summoned this. Can you imagine being the guard? All right, carry this umbrella. Celebrimbor is like, hey, what's up, dude? I don't think things are weird. Hmm. Celebrimbor coming here with the strong hand. Hmm. He spent this entire time crafting his line. Oh no. He's tempted him with the power of the rings. He's like, the rings have done exactly what they were intended to do. Hmm. Hmm. He's playing him like a fiddle. He's literally playing him with, oh, I know you made these expensive gifts and they haven't even said thank you. I can't believe that. How rude of them. The foolishness of them, the vanity of their pride. And he's gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna leave now. Don't worry about it. And Celebrimbor has just been like, I just got fed that sliver of my work, my creation, my essence paid off. And Sauron literally shows up and puts his food directly on the table and makes himself right at home, as he knows. Because Celebrimbor is hook, line, and sinker. Done for. The rings worked better than anticipated. He wanted to be great so badly, he doomed everything else. It's unfortunate. He's like, everything has worked. Lyndon's been saved. And now he's savoring his majesty of his moment. But now he's like, he's like, I want to make more so badly. So badly. The temptation has got him. Sauron's like, he's like, you don't have the slightest thing, Sauron. Bro, I fed you the lines. You have bought and sold everything I've done here. But again, the Mithril ores would have been enough for him to be remembered. But now Celebrimbor's work has finally panned out, so Sauron's going to be straight up happy with the next steps. Hmm. Okay. You see, he's going a very interesting route as far as the Deceiver is concerned. Sauron and Celebrimbor are so quite close friends, buddies, if you will, almost to a fault. Trying to be a really good guest host, but again, you've just invited the devil into your home, and well, you don't really dance with the devil because you get burned. Well, your city might be you. It's like, why in the world would we make rings for men? He's like, elves are men. Elves. Men. Elves? Ah, the good old age of some level of racial superiority amongst the elves. Still a problem. Still needs to be worked on. My name is not Halbrand. What is your name? And he's going to be like, hey, what's the real name? A Dark Lord, maybe. It's like, you're definitely mortal, dude. I don't know why anyone would even bother hearing him out at this moment in time, considering if you just announce yourself as a non-mortal and a being of evil. Is he going to feign being a messenger of the gods in order to save Middle Earth? Celebrimbor has the chance to be their savior, which will just inflate his ego to the nines. And they said rings of power, so yeah, cool. He's like, you still haven't told me your name. From Valis. He's like, I'm definitely not from the Valar as their messenger, but like, uh, Halbrand pulls his best Batman impersonation. Now he knocked over his bottle that he was looking for. Like, can you imagine you're just treating with someone, then all of a sudden, boom, they're gone. You lose all power, and now we have to like kind of sift through and see ultimately like how things are going as this man walks through the fire. Like, I wouldn't believe I was visited by a god. I would definitely believe I was being visited by the devil. Yeah, especially if my fireplace is talking to me. I've assumed I've lost my mind. Because Celebrimbor should not be just straight up baiting as hard as he is on this. It's not even like a good speech as far as power is concerned. I don't know how you. Hmm, hmm, hmm. And we're going to the wig. Celebrimbor's greatest work. Uh, there. They said it. They said the title that so many people are going to be super mad about. It's, of course, as Anatar, he's speaking half truths. Also, if I saw someone do a full costume and new look change through my fireplace, I'd be like, nope, I'm out. Celebrimbor is straight up just bitten something. I'm not sure the look is giving right now, but we'll see how it grows on you. The Ferroform is over. Yeah, Anatar. Yep. Gift giver. Hmm. I wonder how long he was sitting there crafting that little lie. Because now we're gonna go back to the elves. They're gonna have a moment, and we're gonna see how that ultimately plays out. With Elrond making the grand appearance at the end of the episode that I called to help everybody, just because they had to hold the dramatics of it for a while. Elrond made the speech to Gil-galad to ensure this is going on. You should have clearly seen him. He took 2 steps. He was in the room. Your elf eyes would have clearly seen this. He's like, "Yep, Elrond's in charge. You've kind of lost just due to your haphazard mistakes." Will she be able to deal with the fact she's not in charge? Everyone's hanging out in Casa Doom. Oh, hmm. It's got a summons invitation. Ah, the dwarves are being summoned for their rings. All right, and I am going to go to the restroom real quick. BRB. And then we'll get into episode 3. So without further ado, I'll see you in then about 2 minutes at most. Be right back. All right, and we are back. My apologies. Episode 3 is live. Let's get all that good stuff rolling. Thanks to those who have been hanging out on stream. It has been so far a good start to this season. So I'm very pleased overall with what we've seen thus far. So hopefully that continues for much of the season. But it is always interesting to see like um, the numbers of the watch tend to go up when you're not even doing anything. It's super interesting. We're gonna skip the recap because I don't really need it. The eagle and the scepter. So this time we're gonna go across the sea and focus on what's going on over there. Very interesting. So they're trying a lot of the Lord of the Rings type of storytelling, where they have multiple storylines playing out across the field and then slowly bring everything together. Will it play out well? Ideally. But we'll see how things go. Elendil, being master of horses, because why not? Because they've more or less given up on finding their son, because his son is still out there. This horse is like, I am smarter and more stubborn than any man. Maybe they should release the horse and just let it, go out looking for its master. Which, as a father, probably breaks his heart considering like that horse probably grew up with his son. His son is missing. So the last little tidbit he has to remember him is missing and gone. That's a great shot of the mountain. We're going to see that the horse made his way back to the Ashen City. going and looking for our future king. But instead found orcs because why not? But also, can you imagine just being like a regular horse and you're seeing all these men in costumes dressed up as these orcs? That's definitely not be the ideal situation. Mm. For oh, that orc just got annihilated, and that other one is going for a joyride. And now he's no longer with us. It's like we're not gonna go hang out in the forest or try and make that things work. This is a horse. Because that horse kicked that orc directly into a tree. That was a full on yeeting into the Black Forest. I don't know when the forest became magical, but apparently that seems to be okay. I don't know what that is, but that looks like a nope for me. We're gonna go directly into the lair of it's a spider. A horse willingly goes into a spider den. At least it's not a snake. At least it's not a snake. That's about the only thing I can say with some certainty that I'm not. Because like you'd think finding all these bodies and such that things would be no more dice, right? Ah, the horse found its master, but you need to get out of there like yesterday. Oh no. Yeah, if Koo's dropping on you from the ceiling, then it is already too late for you. Because it looks like those are spider eggs and they are hatching. Yeah, nope. Oh, that's gross. Not ideal. Yep, baby spiders. And the first thing spiders do when they're born, eat. So your horse needs to get out of there. And you need to get out of there, or you're going to be the snacker that does not smile back. Because he needs to get the weapon off of the orc that's directly across from him. If that orc is even alive. Oh. Oh. Oh, he looks like he's dead. Oh, everyone thought he was dead, but nope. He's got one more last hoorah left in him. Tell your horse to get out of here. You have to fight this orc. And the spider is going to. Yep. The spider is going to end up getting you. Like its presence felt. Yep. Oh, oh, ow. Oh, oh no. That orc has been eaten beyond belief. And now that he's scared off the little ones, the big ones are going to arrive. Ah, it just spit up a full on bone. I didn't know spiders ate people, but stranger things have happened. So that spider's behind him. Where's the rest of them? Nope, man. You can see moving in the shadows. They're doing a lot of the copy and pasting from Lord of the Rings, the way that Shelob was shown. I'd assume this is some of her offspring. Oh, good save. Good save. Yes, he needs to get a move on. And the horse didn't leave, though, so it's like got out through sheer luck. He's definitely had a terrible time of it. Is now he's basically had to bury his son without a body. They made it back home, safe and sound in Numenor. Nah, that's his king. Speak plainly. Blame who needs to be blamed for this situation. And she's still being drawn by the Palantir. Well, she's going to have a lot of issues all season. Alfarazon returns, later on to be corrupted by Sauron once more. And their queen trying to make the most of the terrible situation. Oh yeah, she's still blind. We're still working with that. I forgot she was blinded. Hmm. 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 Belzagar and Farazan. Trying to play up Numenor's political game because they probably likely don't believe that their queen regent is going to be the correct choice due to the fact she was blinded in this battle. Oh, she just open hand slapped a blind woman. That was not ideal. Like, that's not the move. Who just open hand slaps a blind woman? This Farazan's like our little ploy to anger her and cause her to go off on the people immediately backfired. It wasn't even like kind of sort of maybe. It was like not good enough. Mistakes were made. Farazan's like, I didn't mean to be heard coming in. I'm just trying to sneak around. They're definitely speaking like the people of Numenor. Numenor is looking a little more splendid than it did last season. It's like I just want to see what's going on here. Ah, they have a very interesting relationship. Complete lack of trust from enemies. You'll have to feel them and then decide on the gown. Because all she can really decide is based on touch. It's like we time to move on. Even though they just literally had it. Hmm. She's hoping for white to honor her father. Farazan's already trying to whisper in her ear the way that Sauron's out there whispering in Celebrimbor's. I just have the song now playing in my head. Come on, baby, let me whisper in your ear. That's literally what all these advisors in Middle Earth seem to be doing. Between Grimmer Wormtongue, Sauron, Alfarazon, all trying to make things going on. Farazan's like, I'm not going after this. Basically talking about open rebellion. And then Elendil's daughter is straight up just like, let's throw the rebellion. They're planting their coup just minutes after, well, a couple hours past, what was going on at the funeral reception for the king. And he's like, hey, just a friendly reminder, still here. I can hear you. Everyone's having a really good time. He's like, friendly reminder, we're there. Paladin is just reminding everybody, it's like, hey, you're a stranger in these parts, and be careful with all your insurrection conversations. Good, 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 good. Everyone had a nice little fun chat. It's like, we need to go ahead and go away. The Arian's going to think wise of the moment. The queen is going to try and, Queen Regent, basically feel her way to the moment to figure out a way of saving Numenor. And she's being called directly to the area where the Palantir should be, but Aarian has. The orcs not once gone to war. Because I don't understand a way with the people of making these things work. Okay. Orc parenting now, that's a thing going on here. Oh. Even the orcs do not seem to like this individual. That is a big boy, and he's getting his own theme music. That is wild how big this guy is. Huh, the good old Damron. Yeah, takes on Sun Giants. Eats Dragon Bones. Wow. What a title. Oh. Doesn't really seem to be a fan of being summoned. Huh. And then another commercial. But Damrod has made his appearance. He is as imposing as we intended him to be. That is fairly wild that he's back in that capacity already. It's like it's interesting that he's having a summoner power this early on. He's like, well, I have magic rings. You don't need food for your people. Magic rings. Bag of beans. So they're definitely gonna make some interesting moments happen here. Durin is, of course, suspicious because our good guy character has to be semi suspicious. Like, as long as I got Mithril, I can make this work. He's like, I summoned you because the king don't like me. We don't exactly see eye to eye. We're having tons of issues in that regard. He's like, ah. Anatar, of course, and now taking the moment, be like, hey, let me smooth things over. Use my craft here. Because he's playing on everybody's nostalgia matter. He wants to speak as plainly, but without saying what's going on here. Hmm. Hmm. And he's straight up lying about everything going on. Durin's like, yeah, I'm calling shenanigans immediately. Like, mm. He's like, I'm calling shenanigans on everything you're saying, Anatar. Anatar's like, huh, I can't believe this isn't working. They're not buying what I'm selling. He's like, Elrond would not be Look, if you know your boys, like you should know your boys, you know exactly what they say about you when you're not around. If your friends are calling you wise and intelligent and all this great stuff when you're not around, good friends, but usually not how I'm introduced. So Duran's picking on the entire thing going on. He's picking up what other people are letting down, and I appreciate that about him. He's understanding the shenanigans of the moment. Because Disa's like, look, we are out of options, though. We're gonna have to make this moment work. And he married a very strong woman, and the last thing she's gonna do is let the suffering of their people continue just because you can't figure it out. It's like the doors will warm up in due time. Uh, Anatar is like going on and on and on about his place. I love how Kelvin work commissioned this, but he doesn't know all the news thing. He's like, you kind of held back that the High King wasn't fond of this, and I've already commissioned and sent the message. He's like, I just want you to know this whole plan's in secret. Nobody knows. Mum's the word, but also, but because he's Celeburn has been slighted, he's just gonna do exactly as he sees fit. Because he's like, this is my land, my region, my area. People answer to me. I make the decisions. Pride is his pride and his vanity are his downfall. And that's why you fell for like for Anatar, like hook, line, and sinker. Because he's not even necessarily Eliza's here. Brimbor's like taking the exact steps he should not be taking to seal his own demise. He's like, I'm going to tell the king I'm done. He's like, I'm not going to do business anymore. I just want to be done in private. Say, I'm just buying time because I want to see my project through, regardless of the consequences or the people that I may hurt along the way. He's like, I'm reached the peak of my work. I'm not going to be held back. Pride and vanity led to deceit of his own king. Wow. And just because he saw a magic gold man walk through his fireplace. It's like definitely peculiar. You feel like Sauron's literally on his shoulder in this shot, leading him exactly to where he needs to be. Which, you know, only can work for so long as you continue to buy the lie. Okay, there is a just pool of water in the middle of nothingness. I do not trust this, but it is nice we've seen a sealed door back in action. Now he has managed to survive in that cave as long as he did, literally for the plot in any and all regards. Yep, there are bodies in the water. So let's not linger longer than we should. That will lead only to the worst situation possible. Because the last thing you want to do is definitely wake up the Watcher and any Watchers. Because I believe the Watcher has already been shown, at least at some point. Not certain it's the same Watcher we saw from The Lord of the Rings, but very interested to see what that could entail. There's a cart. Everyone should be. Yep, there's an arrow there. So they have been raided by orcs. And there should be minimal to no survivors, if not a probably jump scare from a potential person who has survived and is on, death row as we speak. Yeah, because those are men of Numenor with arrows directed through them, and there is someone, in fact, hiding. Is it Arandir? Or is it just some random person? So those are saddles. The horse. Oh, nope. she. So she just managed to survive. And he's like, okay, you just stabbed me. It is all the way in the leg. Yep, that is in there. Oh, ouch. This interaction is semi hilarious. All right, someone tighten the wound, seal it at least, because your blood is just spilling everywhere. He's just like, I don't trust you anymore. You just caused this moment to happen. Ow, ouch. That's not ideal. Because that needs to be snug if you want to last and hopefully not have it get infected because we didn't clean it out properly first, but I guess time was of the essence. Isildur just met his girl, I would presume. So whoever that is will be quite interesting. Huh. Uh, he's like, you wouldn't have told me they left directly. Hmm. They both had a terrible, terrible time to get there. Hmm. But can't imagine it's a great greeting to be run into someone and the first thing they do is stab you in the thigh. So they're going to head for this little makeshift area on the map and try and make the most of their situation. Another beautiful scenic shot. As the forest all of a sudden, in a matter of 2 seconds, goes from murky and unpredictable to scenic and Pelargir. Really pretty. But still, team MVP is the horse for today. She was supposedly married and then her hubby died. That's a great situation. Old man out here suffering. Is it a trap or he just hanging out? Hmm. Because why in the world would orcs attack human living alive? They normally would eat you. So this is quite peculiar. Like, do we have anything to eat? Or because I think she's reading the situation fairly correctly. He's got the brand. Yep. It is a beautifully laid trap. No one was going to be able to survive that. Also, man, she just got yanked off that horse. He's more concerned about the horse than anything else. There we go. There's our boy. Arondir with the save. By Orcs. That was a little extra, but I like it. Yeah. It's a great way of conserving your arrows. Oh, and then using it when necessary. Epic as always. There's a reason he was nominated last year from the show, and it looks like he's going to continue on that same path. I don't think he really very much a fan of everything with. Basically fighting off wildlings, even though they're just wild men. And he lost his girl, and now he's a bit moody. He's not much for talking. He's just going to carry on his business as he sees fit. Understood. Makes things pretty straightforward. They wrote her off in a attack by wild men off screen. Understood. So that's he's in mourning. Interesting that she didn't come back. I thought their romance seemed to be semi-promising, but clearly not. Some things just are not meant to be. But also, I don't remember if she passed in season one or not because a lot happened at the end there. The finale was quite good. And he's gonna burn her to honor her and her memories. Where is her son in all of this? So I feel like he should be a prominent member of what's going on here. There he is. I'm gonna say like it's like he needed to make this moment happen. And he seems to be mourning his own way. I wonder if he blames Arandia for this in some way, shape, or form. But we shall see. Is he gonna do the weird like stepdad thing and like try and be like, hey, look at your mother, at least honor her. Don't turn your back to her while she's burning, but it could be awkward. At least just put your hand on his shoulder and be like, hey, I'm here for you, I guess. Ah, prideful. You tried at least. Something. What are you gonna do? Now we're going back to the dwarves who seem to be rationing out food. Mm-mm. Now everybody's like, look, stop, get off my junk. I'm trying to make this work for everybody. Like he's within earshot. You can say it loudly. Like They have 3 months worth of food. Great. The dwarves are not coming out with aces right now. Are in dire straits. Big time. So whether during the fourth wants to or not, he needs to come forth and speak plainly to his father. Like, look, they also have offered us these rings. They're going to save the mountain. We're going to kind of have to do this regardless of how I feel about our relationship or this Anatar fellow who I am not trusting as far as I can throw him, and I'm sure he could yeet him a good ways. It's about time he went and talked to his dad because Disa was going to do it if he wasn't. Because Disa's the only one still speaking facts out here. He's going to do this out of honor, but he needs to speak plainly and be like, look, whether I'm sorry or not, you don't have to necessarily feel you did wrong, but because of how stubborn everything is, you need to be out with it. Like, come on. Come on, Duran, speak it out. He's really selling the moment. Doing a great job. Wow. I was wrong and I'm sorry. Straight up saying everything. It's like everyone's going through absolute worst of things. Duran, are we speaking some facts out here? Is he? Yeah, they're basically trying to cheat death and fight off the inevitable. But again, that's ow, ow. Hmm. Sewing up most of his, what was it? Eperondir? No, she was poisoned. That's how we're going to go ahead and go through that. At least he's, you know, owning up to what happened, but necessarily burdening the blame, I'm not sure is the ideal move. And now he's going to be dealing with issues pertaining to his father. Like, are we sure now is the necessary time to be going over these sorts of troubles? Hmm. It's an awkward relationship in here. Yeah, because he's like, I kind of blame you for my mom, but hmm. Hmm. They're basically trying to do some weird father son, well, stepson bonding. Hmm. They're definitely going an interesting route to see how they're going to part this going on. Because Theo wasn't really a highlight of season one. So if we're going to spend a lot of time on him in season two, his character's going to need to step it up and fix things because his fascination with the sword kind of led to significant problems for our cast of characters. Hmm. Ronja's like, "Yep, never met your dad." And then Theo's like, "Yep, no, thank you." And we're just gonna drive home the fact that like things still work out. Yep. We're gonna do the angry stepson with his father routine. Okay, it's a basic plot device, but I think it was necessary to begin with. Hopefully, the writers know significantly better than a simple person on YouTube. Because I've never written anything in my life, so we might have sit here and cast stones. I just hope it plays out well. As Theo is struggling with loss. Taking Theo to Numenor might not be the best move, considering how much of a mistake happened. The sons who are suffering through. Because Theo's going to go out there looking for revenge. Yep, Theo's on a absolute quest for destruction of himself. But, you know, see how that goes. Isildur's out here being disrespectful. Hey, you still married? Huh? Huh? I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm sorry. It's like 4 in the morning. Because their relationship is going to be complicated, regardless how you look at things. But she just feels guilty about what's going on, and that her and Theo could really resonate right now, which is why he's going to eavesdrop this conversation. Because they're basically going to find a way to talk Theo out of this without actually talking to Theo. Everyone's just kind of commiserating over lost loved ones, doing the best that they can with what they have, which, you know, it's good and all, but I think we should expedite the plot a little bit. This would explain some of the hour-long runtime. So he's just out here living a lie all constantly. But he says open up to complete strangers. And Theo is deeply touched by everything going on. Because you can't bring back those who've been lost through any action. Not as a man, anyway. And even if you could, would it necessarily be the person you were bringing back? Cheating death is not for mortal men. Even if you're Numenorian or you could be Gondorian, you could be, unless you're part of the Valar or the Istar. Yeah, I think you're basically out. No luck. Oh, they're still gonna go off and do their quest. They're having a moment. There was definitely some. He silently rizzed her. I don't know how he did, but I think just by being open and honest with her, it worked. But now he's just literally leaving her in the village by herself. Ah, she has the mark on her neck. And she's hiding what she's truly feeling here. Great. That relationship I read entirely wrong. Well done. Writers, well done. Well done. Good job writing. I did not anticipate that. It is unwise to walk behind a horse like that in that regard, especially when you don't know. Now I need to do the ultimate jailbreak, which is going to get louder than we anticipate for any number of reasons. And if these men live in the wilds, they'd be up and akin to this and used to noise out there. These men are very, very much not in the best mind. And Theo is looking to be the sacrifice. Yeah, lose your mom? A little bit. You can say that. Eh, like that's not the mark. Yep. Is Theo really giving himself that moment in time? Because people are being slowly taken out one at a time. He's like, who is attacking all our camps? Because he's like, if he's unaware of this information, then it was definitely a Rondir who's been making this moment happen. That was a heck of a throw. Mm. Ah, it's not a Rondir who's doing this, it is the Ents. Understood. And the forest is quite angry. He literally just ran off without Theo. Ah, it is definitely an interesting moment that the Ents are like on the offensive and sneaking up on people. Like to be got by a tree is not necessarily what an ideal moment. Good luck for them. And the fact that she is blind and just walked down those stairs, strong show of power for everyone. Now Farazan is like, oh, great, she looks good. She looks the part. I wore red, you wore white. We're not matching. Now it looks like we're not on the same page. Now everyone's going to that. Everyone has the one advisor who's like looks ancient as all get out, super bizarre, gets to christen your new king or queenship. In this case, queenship. Well, and there's always going to be somebody out there. That people have spoken up against her. Sorry. And they're still mad about all the lives lost trying to save the men. Because her outfit is very well done. It looks very good. The queen looks very well put together. And she's constantly just fighting Alfarazon's lies and deceit. Seeing if she can best him, which ultimately we know will not come to pass, but hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles. I'm just waiting for our shot of the eagle to arrive in this episode. Because I would anticipate the eagle would make appearance here to announce some kind of sign. That's her right to rule. Will it be soon? She's more or less calming the people. Arian is going to be a significant problem. Yeah, she's holding Palantir. The deceit and treachery goes further. The Palantir. Yep, that's kind of a problem. Okay, now we're just throwing Palantir on the ground like they mean nothing. That's not really sure we should be doing that. Now Pharazon's got her basically dead to rights. Oh boy. Mariel got busted with the Palantir. And Elendil just got yeeted by the Palantir. Likely because of his royal bloodline that there's issues, but now we have significant civil unrest in this moment. Yep, there's the eagle. Right on cue. To fix everyone's squabble. The sign of divine right to rule. Called the eagle's arrival. Because Alfarazon is like, look, I had this plan beautifully done, but now all of a sudden we have an eagle just landed on our front porch during this coronation. Like, how'd they know? Who talked to them? What the heck? It's not like you have, a messaging app to pull up and be like, hey, what's up, bird? Mm. And Pharazon sees the moment. The rise of his power immediately. Mm. He's like, cool. I just got promoted by an eagle. That is wild. Hmm. And it's that's how politics are decided. Man, that's an interesting society. And that is almost the end of episode 3. But we're going back to Anatar, who is working on our rings. I take it they have received the mithril, otherwise they wouldn't be even bothering with this casting. Yep, well, it looks like everything's coming together as they saw fit. Yep, and during the fourth is there, but very, very suspect of everything that's going on. Let's see how these ranks turn. Oh, the king is there, so he decided to go ahead on it ultimately. The silent thank you, because Celebrimbor is not really much of a pleasantries person. Hands over the mithril to Anatar, who is now going to put it in, and we're going to see how this pans out. Just literally offer it in. He looks like he's imbuing it with magic, or has. His eyes change into the slit, just in case anyone was wondering. The all-seeing eye nod there. And that is where we're going to end episode 3. The Eagle and the Scepter. And I've got to say, first 3 episodes are solid. There's very little to complain about on my end. I don't really see this season going a bad route. As far as I'm concerned, 8 out of 10 for the first 3 episodes. There's still some plot devices that need to be touched up upon in major ways. Theo's character is still rather dull. He's not really all that inspiring. The fact we're going to spend most of an arc appears trying to work on the stepson stepfather relationship with Arondir, I feel is a miss. Galadriel seems to be taking this turn into a more wizened individual, maybe a more learned and patient, more going towards the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings iteration that we more or less consider the more true form of Galadriel. Um, that is a good step. Elrond seems to be just as stubborn as dwarves, which, considering his relationship with Durin the Fourth, kind of pans out significantly well. Durin the Fourth had really good character growth in this episode thus far, with everything going on with Disa, because a good woman will continue to challenge you even when you're at your most stubborn to be your very best for everyone around you. Um, Definitely something that is good for the series thus far in that regard. Let's see. Elendil is now basically fighting a losing uphill battle. Alfarazon, for all intents and purposes, has got everything set up. And Adar, I know we transitioned actors, but picked up exactly the same elements and key pieces that we had from last season. Adar is putting his army into place, and he's continually going to go out of his way to finish Sauron so he can claim his seat in Middle Earth, if you will, and ensure that he is the new Dark Lord, because he's like, I was one of the 13 chosen. I'm one of the OGs. I've been blessed. All the orcs love me. I'm a man of the people. Like I can make this thing happen. These are my children, even though they look nothing alike. So I don't know why the orcs just be like, yep, cool, this elf dude. I'm down with that. That's the move. But hey, he speaks their language, he speaks their lingo, he speaks to their heart, and he was powerful enough that when he called, Damrod showed up. And Damrod doesn't seem to take very kindly to messengers or people waking him or whatever the case was being, because he returned the messenger just the head of the messenger. So that seems to be a very clear and direct message of what's going on. Thus far, the series did really good. The costumes are much better than last season. the makeup going with live action orcs versus the CGI. I know there was complications pertaining to the time period because we had the writing strike and we had the only so many people allowed on set sort of thing that they just tried to power through. The product suffered greatly. We're hoping due to just that. So hopefully this season will be much better, much more accurate, and we'll see some improvements. I still think the guards that were behind Gilgalad looked like their armor was wished in or Spirit Halloween bot. But then you get to Region, and now their armor is beautiful. It's intricate. It looks well done. I don't know, and I can't speak to the legitimacy of the accuracy of the armor, but I can say that it looks cool. So that's something that, from a casual perspective, be like, yeah, cool. I buy this. I'm into this. And then we're seeing that Celebrimbor has, in his pride and his vanity, in his comeuppance, more or less, has deemed himself worthy enough to carry on and push through with his plan, even in spite of the fact that Anatar is not even doing a good job of being a deceiver. He's just like, oh, so the king didn't thank me for these mighty gifts I made him? I made this with my back, you know. No one appreciates the little man. And then Anatar was like, yeah, he didn't even send you a thank you? What a dick. And then more or less, Celebrimbor was just like hook, line, sinker, bought all of it, and now he's like, I'm going to defy my king. I'm going to not only openly defy him, I'm going to straight up lie to him and be like, hey, I'm going to house Anatar. I'm going to give these mighty gifts to the dwarves, and no one's going to know a thing. Mum's the word, none's the wiser, and thus the fall of Aregion has begun. Which Aregion looked cool. It looked well done. It looks like they spent their budget fairly good there. Still a little confused as to everything that's going on with Arandir, sorry. He seems to be going through this emotional crisis, trying to work through a lot of his situations involving the loss of the girl he was into, which I know elves mourn deeply and passionately as they feel things apparently on a higher level or a higher calling. But at the same time, I think this season was off to a great start. More or less, if you want to see the rest of my breakdown, go ahead and hit that lovely red subscribe button. Greatly helps out the channel, or just hit that like button, as we will be suggested in the future as a channel for you to go ahead and check on out. I have been Brent for Geek Variants. I'll see you in the breakdown.